to working remotely for leaders, opportunities to seek and pitfalls to avoid. And as we begin diving in here, if you send a message privately, which several of you are sending me messages right now, please know that I have a co-host today. That co-host is that gentleman you see in the webcam underneath Cornet Carolinas. That's Brett Frenier, and Brett is from Ratio Design in Raleigh with Cornet. Please send any messages directly to him, and you can see him right there. Brett, please wave at us. For those of you who are new to virtual technology, he is the one that has Cornet Carolinas as his name. Please send him any messages, and he can relay those to me, because I'm going to pay attention to the screen and to the webcam, not so much the chat right now. So welcome, everyone. As we dive in and get started, welcome everyone from Cornet. Welcome everyone, whoever you are and wherever you came from today. Welcome, fellow high performers and achievers. As we dive in and begin, I want to set the stage on what we're going to do together today. It's our responsibility in these times of challenge as leaders, and everyone on this call is a leader. Just by showing up today and being involved with a workshop on leadership, you are proving that you are a leader. So everyone that's here today, every leader here today, you know, we are here to work on being the best leaders that we can be. And our agenda today is very specific. I'm going to walk through that with you. As we dive in, please mute phones. Please do your very best to keep the distractions at a minimum as we begin. You'll notice that all of you are muted anyways as we get started here. And Brett is the one right there that has the sole control of that. So please be nice to Brett in the chat if you'd like the chance to talk later. So thank you very much. Team, as we begin, here are the expectations I'd like to share for our conversation today. It's safe for you to ask questions. It's safe to learn. Feel free to type any of those questions in the chat to Cornet Carolinas, to Brett. I'll be very transparent and direct today, as always. Never mean to be a know-it-all, never mean to be condescending, always just speaking from the heart and very direct. So I'll be transparent today. I would encourage you to take what's valuable to you. And if there's something that you've already heard or that you may not be able to use, that's fine, leave it there, but take what you can from it. My coach said to me one time, Matt, if you ever hear someone say something that's cliche, then pay close attention, because you're probably going to learn some wisdom. So if you hear anything you've heard, if you hear anything cliche, please take note, because there's wisdom in cliche. Last thing is patience with kiddos and the internet. You may hear what I refer to as my dinosaurs. I have 3 kids. They are 4, 3, and 1, and you may hear them in the background from time to time. Some of you may be able to relate to this. Some of you may, since we are sheltered in place in North Carolina, you may have children that are now home all the time. You may have a spouse that's home all the time. You may be in total isolation by yourself. No matter where you are right now with people in the background, I just want to set the expectation that you may hear some of mine. So please allow me a little patience and grace on that. Also with the internet, if you are dialed in on the internet right now, and that's the only way you're dialed into this call, I would strongly encourage you to also dial in on the phone number, which is in that email that you got from Brett or that you got from Cornet Carolinas chapter. Because if you dial in from the phone and you're linked in through the internet, it gives you 2 different ways to listen, just in case the internet goes down. Because the internet did go down on me 7:01 to 7:08 p.m. on the last call we had. So we were down, like 50 people on the line. We were down for a little while, but those who were logged in, they could hear. So those are a couple of expectations to get started here, team. Now, as we continue forward, my goal for today is to serve our people with empathy and help them thrive while working remotely as leaders. You know, so as a leader today, our goal, pardon me, as a leader today, my goal is always to help bring out the best in people. And it's always to help leaders be the best version of themselves in front of others. The only agenda that I have today personally is to add value to you and offer you from 20 plus years of experience in leading large groups of people what I can share. And some of the things we hear today, like I said, you may have already done. Some of you may have led and made mistakes, or led and done it the right way through other challenging times in our world. I remember that some of the best learning experiences for me were from some of the most painful times for me. I think back to 9/11, which was nearly 20 years ago now. I was a brand new leader running my second business, and I made some mistakes, and I kept things 100% focused on business. I didn't pay as much attention to my people, and it hurt my business. It hurt the development of my people, and overall, it was just a poor time for me executing as a leader. So I like to help you you learn from some of my mistakes and help our team collectively do the best we can for our people. So that's a goal for today. The format of our call today, I'm going to share a strategy, I'm going to tell a story, I'm going to empower you with questions. We're going to have time for a Q&A. And then at the end, there's going to be a post-call email being sent to each and every person on this call today. So Brett, if you could please type into the chat, type in there your email address. And if everyone can email Brett, you can email Brett directly, and he will make sure that you get the link and you get the notes from today's call. So should we drop off for any reason and we miss any of the content, we miss any of the conversation, Brett will send it out to everyone within the next 24 hours if you send to Brett your email. So please private chat that to the Cornet Carolinas in the chat. He's one of our co-hosts. So thank you, Brett. And if you're new to virtual technology and trying to figure out what chat means, that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to know that, be an expert at that. We see most people's names logged in. So if your name's there, we'll be able to send it to you. But it would make it a lot easier for Brett if you sent him your email address as we get started. So team, as we dive in and get started, I'd like to invite everyone to participate where you are. We'll meet you where you are today. If you're comfortable with webcams, feel free to turn it on. If you're not, don't worry about it. If you're comfortable later raising your hand and asking questions, feel free to do that. No matter the way that you are taking this in right now, no matter how you are responding currently, all we need to do is just get a little bit better at the way we're doing it now, and let's give the best we can to our people. So let's meet where we are, moving right now, moving forward. Let's give the best to our people, because we are in a place where we are in a big, challenging time. And as leaders, it is our responsibility to step up. So without any further ado, let's get serious. Let's start to learn. Let's go on to the next slide and do some hard work. So let's begin. First, I like to always start with a slide that makes people smile, because when you're getting ready to push someone really hard, I want them smiling first. So before we dive in and get under the waterline to the tactics of leaders, let's do a little deep breath here on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Deep breath in and breath out. Now let's begin. First, we're going to go under the waterline and talk about how you show up as a leader. Second, we're going to talk about the most important tactic in leading with empathy and compassion in this time, understanding things through the lens of others. And third and finally, we're going to talk about creating confidence through clear direction and leading as we go along, learning as we go. We'll then get into some pitfalls and things that we want to avoid. We'll then go straight to interview with Mr. Tom Planishek, who's here he's the Charlotte Division Manager from Clancy and Faze. He's going to join on here and share some ideas and his thoughts around how his company's leading through this time. It's one of our very important sponsors here. So without any further ado, let's get on to some of the opportunities and challenges. I believe that these are the 3 things that I would like to present to you as our opportunities. Now, I'm on a call last week on Wednesday, and one of the people on the call said to me, "Hey, Matt, I am now stuck at home with my kids and with my spouse." And the same day, the next call, someone said to me that, "Matt, I get to spend time now with my family that I haven't spent in years." You know, the way that we view this time we're in right now, we can view it as a real challenge and a downer, right? Or we can view it as an opportunity to shine and be the best we can for the most important people in our world. So I view you to audit the lens by which you are seeing things right now, my friends. And let's view this as an opportunity to do these 3 things, the focus point of our conversation today. So first things first, let's go on to number 1. Number 1, you set the tone. And if you've been on one of these workshops before, this one's going to be different than others. One thing will remain the same. The most important thing that you or I or any leader can bring to the table is you. You set the tone. I'm going to read to you what's on the screen right now. Let's let it sink in, my friends. I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. You are the leader. You are the one that is at the top of the pyramid, the hierarchy in the organization for a reason. It's not just because you are the person that has the ability to produce the most, or just because you've shown up time and again as the one that's most consistent. Those help us get there. But the reason you are truly there is that when times are challenging, everyone looks to you and pays close attention to the way that you respond. If you yourself right now are in a really tough place personally or professionally, and you're just thinking, I just need to keep the business afloat, or I need to make the profit number, or I'm not sure how to respond, or I've got my own stuff, and you're in a lot of pain yourself, then please write down my email address and contact me. It's matt@proadvisorcoach.com. Please contact me. It's confidential and private. There's no charge. I love to speak with you and coach you through whatever it takes. Let's have a conversation around it if there's a challenge for you right now. So why is it important to feed our minds right now with things that are positive and reassuring and things that bring value to us? It's important so that we set the tone for everyone else around us. Let me empower you with a couple of questions here, my friends, that can help you. First, why is it important for a leader to step up and show up when times are challenging? I love to start with why questions. Why questions bring out the meaningful sense of purpose. If you are having roundtable discussions with your leaders and figuring out right now how to get the best from your people, the first thing we've got to do is we got to define what a leader does right now, how they're supposed to respond right now, and starting with the why question is the most powerful way to do that. How might I set the tone right now and illustrate without a shadow of a doubt that I'm all in for my people? So start with the why question and then a how might I question. The difference between starting this way and starting with a what do I do? What do I do is a logic question. It puts us into a box. It puts us down a very specific path of just get things done, get results. And I want to challenge you, team, to set yourself up for success with a why and how might I question, which bring in limitless possibilities. Next question, how might I prepare myself for each day's leadership role by strengthening my personal daily habits? There's a client I've been working with for some time, and every day he would wake up and the first thing he would do is he would flip on the news and he'd scroll through his news on his Google News app. And no offense if anyone in here is from Google, but if the first thing you do is go to Google News and start reading the news and all we see are challenging and painful things, it's not exactly going to set the tone in our mind to be at our very best. How might you prepare yourself every day in the leadership role with your personal daily habits? Last one, how might this situation empower you to be better in some area of your life? Right before we started this call, very transparently, I was having a conversation with Brett and with Tom, and we were talking about some of the things we're doing personally and professionally to improve ourselves around exercise, around nutrition, around spending time with our families, around doing the very best we can one-on-one with our people. How might you use a challenging time to your advantage to be able to help people and serve people and connect deeper with people? You set the tone, friends. Here's my personal question I want to share with you. It's my guiding attitudinal question as a leader, for myself, for clients, for our coaching company. Think about your role as a leader right now. What is your unifying question? How might you come to that place where you're leading your people and you're able to take them above and beyond with your guiding principles and values? If your team has done the hard work of creating a vision statement, a mission statement, and doing all of that to help the team guide them with principles, then how might you be able to bring those principles into full effect right now and live them and show your people that you're living them? My question is this: how might we revolutionize the response to this challenge so that people feel appreciated, heard, cared for, growing and developing, and overall empower them with a sense of optimism and progress? That's my own personal question. It led me, by asking that question, it led me to doing this series of webinars for free, with no expectation on the end, just wanting to give back as much as we could, because when your cup is full, share it with others. Be able to give people whatever it is that you have to give them. So this is the thing that I had to give, so I'm giving it. And you can do the same thing too. when you have that sense of purpose and you're able to create that question. I spent more time on this one than I will on the rest of them, so we're going to go through and fly through from here. Let's go on to the next one. Understand the frames of others. So one thing I've seen work incredibly well in the last couple of weeks is I've jumped on a bunch of Zoom calls or Join Me calls, or you name the virtual technology, and had teams just get on the calls. Invest the time to listen. I used to start team meetings, hey, around the horn updates, and then share your business progress. And you know what? That's not the exact place I'd recommend starting right now. The exact place to start, if we've not done it yet, the first place to start is to make sure all your people are okay and check in with them. How do you do that? In a group setting, it's invite everyone to a virtual call, and at their pace, invite them to turn the webcams on and share around the horn. How are you? How's your family? How are you adapting? Through those three simple questions. How are you? How's your family? How are you adapting? And if that's the entire call, that's the entire call. That's the result. That's the first call. The next call might be more of, all right, team, well, let's share around the horn again and then get to business. But first, we've got to check in with our people. We have to invest the time to listen. On the macro, we do that in the team, in the organizational huddle, by giving everyone a second or two, a minute or two to share where they're at. In the micro, as a leader, if you have the capability to reach out to your 5, 10, 20 employees, or if you have 1,000 employees or more, reach out to your subdirects underneath you that can do this. But now is the time to start as a whole in the team huddle, asking how they're doing, and then one-on-one, go hand-to-hand with every person we possibly can. That's incredibly strong leadership right now to let them know that you care and you're doing that. I got off the phone this morning with a company I've been coaching for the past year, has a couple hundred employees, and the CEO said and made it their commitment not to lay anyone off in this time. And they're sharing that with some of the people they're currently doing business with as they negotiate, and someone's asking for a 2% cut on the deal. We're sharing with them that we're willing to walk away from the business because we made this promise to the people, and all the people are loving them, and they're going to do as best they can to live to that mission. But right now, invest that time to listen, share that vision, that mission, those tiny tweaks, the tiny tweaks. Here's a couple of examples of tiny tweaks. Your email signature. If you've got an email from me recently, the email signature has changed. Being able to reset the expectations if you have an out-of-office reply and what it says there. The way that you have the reset expectations on your work product with your people. You know, being able to one-on-one connect with them and then communicate and say, you know, are your kids at home now? Are you teaching them? How might that impact your work? Let's work together to figure out what the new work product might look like. Let's work together to figure out how we can get the best we can from business while making sure that you're good and you're full here on the mental side at home. Resetting expectations, those tiny tweaks, those tiny conversations with every player on the team, those are incredibly important right now. The pitfall here is the first thing we do is go straight to implementing strict business regimen, strict scorecards. I'm a big believer in scorecards. If you work with me as a client, you know I'm a big believer in that. But that's part 2 or part 3. Part 1 is listen. Part 2, reset expectations and how we're going to communicate, what's acceptable to communicate, and then our work product. Continuing on from here, some questions. How might slowing down and asking more questions open doorways into a deeper and more meaningful relationships as a leader and mentor to my people? How might I build trust to an all-time high through active listening and questions right now? And then, of course, the 3 staple questions we ask everyone, and not just today, and not just in 3 weeks from now. I'm asking this to every client every week that I talk to them. And in some cases, I'm talking to a certain client every day of the week. I'm checking in every day because we never know where we need to meet them that day, right? So I'm asking those questions each day. Continuing to number 3. Number 3 is to be proactive now. What's proactive? Well, if you look at the quote I put down right here, an imperfect message early is stronger than a perfect message too late. So if you're struggling on the strategy, that's totally okay. There's not really a playbook for the pandemic. There's not really an exact strategy. What do we go to in crisis mode? We're all learning that together at the same time. What the error is to not put anything out. And I'm sad to say I'm still hearing of leaders who have not put anything out. No, I'm not saying that that's the end of the world and that's bad. I'm saying it's improved and it's better when we do put something out. It makes us sound more human. It makes us connect with our people a little bit better. And it helps us give some narrative as opposed to letting others create their own narrative. We want to set the tone as leaders. So, show strong leadership now through my actions and my message. How might I play offense today in providing strong leadership through being proactive? Okay, so I'll go through a couple of pitfalls, then we'll bring Tom on here. Pitfalls. Pitfalls are results over culture. We kind of hit on that for a moment there. I think that results over culture, we have a friend of mine on the call right now, Abdul, I saw his name earlier. He was sharing, he works at Cisco. He was sharing that there's like 75,000 employees at Cisco, and the CEO of the company was on giving video messages to the employees like a couple weeks ago. Strong leadership. I see that a couple other companies I have the privilege of working with that are on the call right now. That's more focused on the people, is giving those updates. If it's all business and no empathy, no listening, that's the pitfall. The other pitfall is, I call it beware the sudden micromanager, the person that's asking for an email update every single day. I'm not saying don't ask for updates, but first, before you ask that update, let's communicate with our people and establish together what the expectation is on our communications. It's not forced on them. There are things that may not be in their total control right now. So we've got to be able to reset those expectations with them. It takes us more time, but it's the biggest deposit in the relational currency bank we can make with our people, is to have that conversation. Not be the sudden micromanager, send me everything all the time, every day. First, have the expectations conversation with them on how we're going to communicate and get back and forth to each other the results. Last is the perfection trap. It's the person who wants everything to go perfect right now in a time where we don't control everything, or we might feel we control less than we used to. The perfection trap can be a super challenge.